Hi, I'm Jim from M&M Tools and Machinery, and today we have a really good opportunity to take a look at some metal machinery. We sell metal tools at M&M, but we don't necessarily have a whole bunch on the floor. And this tool I didn't even know about until Brad, who is gonna go over it for us, told me about it. It is the J-9225 zip miter bandsaw, and it's awesome. Brad's gonna do a full-on review of it, as well as just telling us about kind of the running of it, the features of it, everything. So thanks to Brad for being willing to do it.
Hey, you're welcome. And we'll cut a little bit of metal and show you guys how it works. So a lot of guys doing metal work use horizontal bandsaws. You've seen them, they're fixed. And if you need to cut angles on a saw, you need, if you're cutting really long stock, you need a lot of room on the outside of your saw.
Right.
Because the saw doesn't move.
Right.
Well, Jet came out with the zip miter saw, so this is a miter saw horizontal bandsaw.
Very
and
good.
how that is used, and I'll just show you that very quickly, is you pull this lever right here, and then you move the head where you want to. The nest stays straight, the bandsaw and the head move.
See the scale down here?
For the scale, and I'd say the scale is very accurate.
Very cool.
Within a 1/16 of an inch. Metal work, that's pretty accurate.
Very cool.
So it does have positive stops for 0 and 45.
Cool.
Just bolts that you can adjust once you get where you need to. It does come assembled. When M&M sent this to me, I ordered it from Jim and they sent it. It came with the base mounted and then the cabinet you put together. I will say it's extremely heavy. The top section weighs about 700 pounds. You're going to want to have a forklift. It does have fork points right here on the back sides of the pan where you can hook some thread bolts or a fork chain through and lift it up on top of your base. This is not something you want to do with just your buddies and just deadlifting it up. But once we got it set, we leveled it out on the ground and we just walked through it and started cutting steel. I used to cut all my steel with a portaband, and it would take forever. I needed to do repetition cutting fast, and I needed a lot of throat to cut. How you get, this is 8 3/4 inch, it will cut on a 90-degree angle.
Very good.
So you move the cutting pinch back, and it will open up to 8 3/4 inch. You use the tensioner to tension it down, and then you start cutting your steel. I think the best way to show you kind of the operation is just cut a little steel real quick and show guys how it works.
That sounds great.
So right here you have some 1.5 by 1.5 square. This is 1/8 inch thick, and I'll show you guys how easy it cuts through. You just snug it up. And after you snug it up, bring your tensioner down. Right here, this is 3-phase.
Cool.
It only does come in 3-phase,
right.
So that is something to consider. You turn the module on, you press start. It's a hydraulic feed. You bring the hydraulics down to start, and you set your speed for how fast you want the band to fall on the metal. Something like this, I have it in gear low, or low gear, and I have it at 2.5, and it's going to start cutting the metal. It does have a positive stop, so once it clears the metal, it automatically shuts off.
Very cool.
So, as you can notice, it does have banding in the back, or it has a liquid to cool the blade as it goes through the steel.
Very cool.
I use Band-Aid, that's what it's called, with water, and it works fantastic. completely cut off.
Nice.
Very smooth. Not a lot of fraying, not a lot of edges. That is a weldable cut right there. You don't have to grind it, you don't have to clean it up or anything. From this position, the machine automatically turns off. You bring the hydraulic arm back up, and then you lock the machine by turning the hydraulic to stop.
Cool.
And it will hold the machine where you want. You pull the tensioner, and then you can grab your material out from the base.
Very cool.
The whole pan siphons back into the reserve tank. It holds about 2.5 gallons of liquid back in the reserve tank. So the pump just keeps pumping that solution, the cutting solution, up into to cool the band as you cut the metal. I can't say anything bad about it. I use this every day. We do production handrails for our wheelchair accessibility ramp kits. This will run 4, 5, 6 hours a day non-stop. We're still on the original blade.
Very cool.
Haven't had to replace it. One of the cool things that I've noticed for cutting different steels is if you come over here, you can see it comes with a complete diagram of everything that you need for speed, cutting speed, the different blades that you need to put on for copper, bronze, hard bronze, aluminum, brass, plastics. It has the capability to cut all those things. So right now I'm cutting, mild carbon steel. So it's just set up generically for that. But depending on other things that you want to do, you have a whole grid here that can show you what you need to do to cut various steels, plastics, those type of things.
Brad, what's this gauge up here for?
This gauge is the tensioner.
Cool.
And we can bring this down and I will show you a little bit how this works. So I will be honest, I haven't changed the band yet, so I haven't had to deal with this. On your grid right here, it's going to tell you for the blade that you have on how much pressure you need to, and tension you have to have on that blade. This is a hydraulic arm. You tilt it where you want your tension. So for this blade that's on it, that comes with it, you need to have it between 20 and 25, that green section right there, and that's all spelled out in the instructions.
Cool.
So this keeps the blade tensioned so it can cut the steel more effectively.
Very cool. So what about changing blades? Is that the...
Changing blades...
You just pull this off?
Yeah, from what I understand, you just pull this cover off. In the instructions in other YouTube videos I watched before I bought this, it seemed very simple. Again, I haven't done it yet. But you just take these set screws off, you back off your tension, you put your new blade on, you tension back to where the instructions tell you for either 3/4 inch or 1 inch blade.
Very cool.
And then you go to work again. If you wanted more distance here, you would just loosen up this tensioner here, and you can pull this block all the way back to give you your 8 3/4 width. So if you're doing repetition cuts, like 1x2 16 gauge steel, you can actually put 7 1x2 16 gauge steel right next to each other and cut them all at once. And so your repetitions go really fast. You can actually do, I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I believe you can do 6.5 inches at 45.
Cool.
So it does lessen it from the 8 3/4 on a 90. Right. But it's still very good.
Okay.
And all my cuts that I've done on the angles have come out fantastic.
So then Brad, on a wood bandsaw, you want your guides to be as close to the wood as they can be?
Yes.
Is that the same on?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, the closer you have it for the metal is better.
Okay.
From what I've seen, it makes it track better through the steel to give it a clean 90-degree cut or whatever cut you want. That's true through the whole thing. It won't move on you or anything like that.
Very
and I've
cool.
never had that problem. Fitting up, welding, all the stuff that we've done, I've never had any canting on the table surface or anything.
Very cool.
So,
okay.
The modular controls over here, this is 3-phase, like I said, so it's got that kind of industrial modular system. You turn the switch on, it powers the system up. You press start. It does have a kill switch on it that you can press and it will kill everything on the machine. You just reset it, push it, pull this back out, start it again. It does have a low and a high. In the instructions, they ask you to do that when the motor's stopped. So we'll just stop the motor. I'm gonna readjust this here really quick. Tighten that back up. So we switch to high, and you can see the difference on how fast it goes. It actually doubles the amount of speed that motor is pushing through, and it will go through metal very fast.
Okay.
So
very cool.
you do want to, from my experience, you want to throw a little more liquid on it when you're running it in high mode versus low, because you are throwing that steel through a little faster.
Which again, that's fully adjustable here on the.
Fully adjustable on here. You can you can see shutting the liquid off completely, the cutting solution, or I can open it up full on, and I'm getting a lot of liquid. I can do the back also. I can shut that off completely, or I can turn it on. Some guys on YouTube I've seen in other forums have said they cut with no solution.
Right.
They just cut just dry. I've never done it. I don't know if you can, but I feel like the Band-Aid solution is the best for carbon steel for me.
Very good. Very cool.
The motor in the back here is fantastic. It is a 3-phase motor, but I don't think it's a Baldor. I don't think it is. I don't believe it is, but it is a high quality jet motor. It's ran great. I've never had a problem with the pump in the reserve yet to get the solution up. I would say all in all, this saw has been a workhorse. It actually changed our production values and increased it by 4 times the amount.
Oh, serious?
Easy.
Very cool.
We would cut before with a Portaband and a Rage carbon cutter, and it worked, but it was loud. It was very difficult. You could only cut one at a time. One of the nice things about this machine is you can put the material in, set your hydraulics, and walk away and do something else.
Very cool.
It cuts through it, shuts the machine off. The piece of steel will fall onto the tray or hold itself up, and you come back, lift the arm, move it out of the way, move it back in, and put another one in, and walk away. So it allows you not to have to stand over the material all the time. I was a little leery at first buying jet for steel because I'm a wood guy.
Yeah.
And I didn't really realize they were doing steel until I talked to you.
Right.
And I can say that, when you look at the high-end steel machinery out there, it is nice.
Right.
But the price point that you pay realizes that.
Right.
This machine in those industrial JMT type machineries, some of the Italian machines and things, would be triple or quadruple the price that you pay for something like this. And for somebody that uses it all the time, primarily we cut 16 gauge 1x1 and 1x2 steel, and it goes all day long. I can't recommend it any more than an A+. The machine has done great. What's this
right here, Brad?
This is the clutch housing.
Cool.
This allows the system to come down on the hydraulics. So you don't even have to have the motor running. You can make the motor come down very quickly, and you can make it go very slow. And when it hits, it automatically will kill the motor here.
Smart.
So this unit back here allows that control to happen.
And then there's there's your kill switch. I don't know. We'll show a close up of that. There's the little switch right there.
Yep.
Do you use this, Brad?
Not that much. It is usable. I've had buddies that have built some other projects and things. It's just a dead stop. You can set it for what you want. I don't use it that much. As far as the ruler is concerned, if you're doing repetition cuts, you can set it and then move it out of the way and just kind of eyeball it. It has its applications.
Very cool.
But mainly we cut longer distances, so we're actually using our tape measure on the other side of the machine. So.
Smart. So Brad, what about the cutting solution? What do you use here? What's this? And Tell us a little more about that, please.
I didn't really know much about cutting solutions and what was out there. I actually went to my local welding supply dealer here in Salt Lake, and I talked to him, and he recommended this Lennox Band-Aid product. It's 1 quart of that in the reservoir for 10 quarts of water,
Awesome.
Just water. And you mix it in there, you run. I find that the solution will last about 3 or 4 hours of hard cutting, and then you have to replenish it.
Okay.
Because the water gets on the metal, and then you take it away, so it starts dwindling.
I get you.
If you do leave it in the reservoir for quite some time, it becomes stagnant. It is a caustic solution, so you do need to be a little careful with it. But I feel like it's done great for us. And carbon steel, that's what I'm familiar to. I can't speak to brass or aluminum or anything like that. You'd have to consult the manual. But for just mild carbon steel, 1 quart of this to 9 or 10 quarts of water, and you're good to go.
Nice. I want to show everybody too one really impressive thing Brad has done. So he's got this nice in-feed table, very large, well supported, so that with big heavy stuff like metal, he doesn't have to worry about it falling off or having any issues there. And then behind us, there are a couple of roller stands for his cuts. And then this is really cool too. This is a jig that he built for the rails. So with the new metal guys, you already know, we wood guys, we're not quite as familiar with the weight issues there, but really, really impressive. So thank you very much, Brad, for showing us the machine.
Hey, you're welcome.
That's awesome.
And I can say this, that just because a lot of people think that Jet is just about wood tools, and Powermatic and Jet, same company,
Right.
Their line of steel tools are really, really good for the medium production shop. That's what I can speak to. That's what we do. So I wouldn't shy away from it. If you're looking at horizontal bandsaws or the zip saw like this or anything like out there, and you're searching YouTube and you're trying to find out what's out there, don't look past the Jet brand. It's not it's something that can do really good for you at a great price point, and M&M Tool can help you out. Jim sold me this one, and I don't think that you're really into the metal thing at that time.
Yeah.
So
We have a few metal pieces on the shop floor, but we definitely don't have anything this size, and so we're trying to get more and more into metal as we go, but most of our customers know us for wood. So this is really good that you have this machine and can let us know how it goes.
Well, I thank you guys, and you can get anything from the line.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be on the floor.
Absolutely. Anything Jet makes. Wilton is also part of that group, so Jet, Wilton, Powermatic. Wilton's big into the metal line. The other thing too, going back to what Brad said at the very beginning, if you are going to do lots of angles, it's important to think about doing a mitering bandsaw, whether that's the Zip or they have a couple other smaller models. You'll save yourself a lot of headache by doing so.
Yeah, absolutely. It will keep your shop open for doing angled cuts. You can mount the machine against a hard wall and move the machine for what you want, so you don't have to have a ton of room sticking out when you're cutting 24 footers and 30 footers building trailers and things like that.
Totally.
So,
Very good. Well, thank you very much, Brad.
hey, you're welcome.